Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. I'm in Topaz Studio 2 today and having fun with a photo that I took in Scotland a few years ago. Let me show you the photo. As you can see here, this is a little harbor, and I liked it was colorful. I had nice skies. You know, there's some areas that had some detail. There's some areas that are kind of softer, and I just kind of like the scene. But for me, it was a little too dark. You couldn't really see some of the areas that were detailed. The colors were, really just desaturated in this image, and I just wanted to amp those kind of things up. So after a few minutes in Topaz Studio, that's what I turned it into. And so I'm going to go reset these filters, and I'll walk you through the steps I took to get to that image. Okay, here we are with nothing done to the photo. I started in basic adjustment, which is pretty much what I do on most photos. I'll start there and just play with the sliders a little bit, check out the light, see what I have. In this case, I took the exposure up a little bit and I upped the saturation. As I said, too dark, not colorful enough. So I started with those two steps, exposure and saturation, to start overcoming those kind of basic things that I felt were lacking in the photo. So next up was precision contrast, which for me is, as I've said here probably several times, one of my favorite filters in a Topaz Studio. So I went through all of these and made adjustments. It's just a visual thing. I just make the slider adjustments until I see something that I like. And so there's no science to this. It's purely art. The thing I wanted to point out was on high, instead of going this way, if you notice when I go that way, these darker areas get really dark, and I didn't like that. Let me show you. At 0, that's where they are. So going to the right is really dark. So I went to the left, and I think it was in the mid 40s or something. But as you can see, that's brightening those areas. And I felt like, when you brighten areas, you do lose contrast, right? Because contrast is the difference between the dark and the light areas. And so going negative on contrast can often wash out an image. And if I go too far, it gets really washed out. But I didn't want to go all that far. I just wanted to go, like I said, I think it was mid 40s or something. I just wanted to add a little bit of light back in there. There's still enough contrast in the rest of the image, thanks to these other moves, to overcome that. And so I felt like it made the image a little bit better looking. And then it was time to start kind of doing some of the creative things that I wanted to do. So not that filter. Let me go to this next one, which was blur. And so in blur, I chose diffusion blur at pretty high. And then all I did is I went into the masking, and as you can see, I took a gradient mask and using the edge-aware technology was able to just apply that really to the top of the frame, which is, for me, the clouds. And that's what I wanted to do in the initial photo. I like the clouds. They've got a lot of character and a lot of some texture and structure, but I really wanted to soften that up a little bit. And in doing so, I felt like, I was able to keep the basic shape of the clouds. I didn't over blur them to make them look like a long exposure, but I was still able to soften it up a little bit, and I just kind of like soft clouds most of the time. So I was able to go from there to there. And if you're not familiar with like how the gradient mask works, for example, I've got a video here that I'll link to that shows you how to use the gradient mask in Studio. But very powerful, very simple, and very quickly you can apply that to your photo. Next up was brightness and contrast, and that was just a simple thing. One more time, a little brightness and a little bit of contrast and a little bit of saturation. So in many ways, those are repeats of what I've done on previous filters, but it was able to give me a little bit more punch to the image. There was the before and there was the after. Again, looking to increase the exposure or the brightness, right? It's a little too dark, or it was, and I wanted to amp up the colors. So then I was here, and I liked it here, but this is where I was like, yeah, I got to do one. There's got to be something else I can do. I was looking for some kind of like magic, easy button or something. In a lot of products, you just hit like an AI filter button, and those don't really exist here. So I thought what I would do is go into the looks, and so I did. I went and found a look called So Soft. I went into Add Looks. I went into Bright because I wanted to brighten the image, and then I just scrolled down, and So Soft was down in there towards the bottom. So I'm going to close that. But So Soft is comprised of smudge, vignette, HSL, and glow, as you can see. So the before was a little bit darker and still a little bit lacking in color, and the after much more vibrant, both colorfully and in terms of its exposure or luminosity. Now I did some adjustments here, and honestly I don't know exactly what all I did, but I went into each of these filters and I kind of played around a little bit. Glows at 89 opacity. So one of the things that's so great about these looks is, you grab each of these filters and you can tweak them, or you can tweak the overall look of the entire look, right, at the top level. That is up here. If I clicked on So Soft, I did that as well, by the way. So I went to 39 opacity there. But what I did is I went into Glow, brought that down a little bit, and then HSL I was fine. I didn't have to do anything there. Vignette I left alone, and Smudge, Smudge I didn't mess with either. So I was fine with all that, but then I did go into the top level and reduce the opacity to 39. Let me show you at 100. It's really kind of got that electrified look to it, which is kind of cool, but not what I was going for. I wanted more of a natural look, just brighter and more colorful. So I'm going to go back to where I was. I think it was 39 or something. So I'll just leave that there. But that was really it. And oh, golly, the important thing also is I did a luminosity mask. So I don't want to click on that and reset it or anything, but I did a luminosity mask, as you can see, and as you may recall, black conceals and white reveals, which means the edit that I've done with this look, this So Soft, which is comprised of those 4 filters, that's being applied more heavily to the white areas and less heavily to the gray areas and not at all to the black areas. So in other words, I've basically taken the foreground and applied this, with the luminosity mask, applied this look called So Soft to the foreground and not applied it to the sky. And hey, if you've got questions about luminosity masking, I've also got a video about that I'll link up there. So I did that as well. So, basically adjusted glow, adjusted smudge, I think, took down the opacity of the entire filter, and then also applied a luminosity mask. And that was able to give me a much gentler version of So Soft, basically. So there's before So Soft and after, and as you can see, it's pretty much just popping that foreground. So it's something to think about using luminosity mask, but also when you find the look that you like, don't hesitate to check blend modes and try masking of different types, including luminosity masking, to get you a better look, or in this case, a more gentle application of that filter. So let me show you the before. Cool shot. I like it. Just a little dark, a little lacking in details. And I really wanted to pop the color because to me, it's got some great color. It's got that warmth in the sand. It's got some nice greens over there. Some warmth in this middle section here, like on that seawall. It's got a little bit of golden kind of brown to it. And then some nice blue in the water and the sky. I just wanted to bring those back and bring it to life. And that was how I did it in Topaz Studios. So I hope that it's helpful. And by all means, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, those sort of things. And I'll be back soon with more videos, my friend. I appreciate you watching very much. Have a great day. Take care. I'll see you soon, and adios.